So today we're going to be shooting the X-68 Stormtroop with preheated 24 grams of CO2. I'm going to I reconfigured the plumbing here. All right, we just started a third preheat cycle actually. I reconfigured the plumbing a little bit so that I could quickly disconnect this, remove this stock, and be able to switch out for a HPA tank, whether it be my 800, which is only doing 750 these days, or whether it be my 1100. So we're going to go ahead and also test it to see if we're getting the mag drop with only the preheated 24 grams, the 212 grams, and the Umerix here, the Umerix cylinder. There's no CO2 in the handle this time, so we'll just be doing the 24 grams, just in case I was having turbulence from the cold 12 gram in the handle and the hot 104 degrees CO2 from the preheater circuit. So I want to rule that out and see if it helps. I didn't drop any mags even using the heavy ammo, the 9.9 gram riot balls the other day when I was using 1100 psi HPA through the back here. I put all new O-rings in the bolt and valve assembly here because I did have a leak after shooting HPA. So those have been changed off camera. I aired the gun up and it's leak free there. I don't know if I have any other leaks in the plumbing here. I don't believe I do because I did pressurize that with a single CO2 earlier today and I didn't hear really anything major coming out anywhere. So could still be a slow leak here and there, maybe in the plumbing. All right, so we're going to go ahead and puncture the two in the Umerix cylinder. And then we'll take a reading and see what we have for pressure on that, preheated. And then we'll turn we'll turn the 8890 on off to the on position and pressurize the gun. Okay. I believe I got a good puncture. Looks good there. Hopefully I got all two punctured. I'm sitting at 1156. 1176. Let me turn that preheater off. Right. That's the pressure inside the Umerix. I'm going to turn this on. Okay, so that what I say it was 1136. That has now stabilized to, after filling in, it's stabilized to about 918, about 918 psi. Thing looks okay in there. I was having an issue before I changed the O-rings with the bolt hanging up too, sticking and stuff. So it seems to be all right now since changing those O-rings. All right, 938.7 is what we have now. I'm going to put a magazine of the Smasher XLs, 6 rounds of the Smasher XLs, which is about 8.4 grams. I'm going to put that in there, and I am going to put my tape on here so I can, in case the mag does drop. All right, hopefully that'll hold the mag. Put the laser on. And we're going to take some chrono readings. All right, 8.4 gram Smasher XLs, 930 PSI working pressure. Mag 1, shot 1. Okay, 496 feet per second. And we're sitting at 914, 18 PSI still. You gotta take my word for it. I want to keep swinging this gun around with a mag in it. The mag did drop. I'll slide it back in. All right, so the mag did drop. Maybe I should switch over to alien play and try it, since, I mean, until this pressure dips off, seems like we're still having a problem at greater than 850 PSI. That mag's still dropping, even with just the 2 cartridges only, the 24 grams. I guess we'll take one more shot. At some point, the pressure should drop low enough. All right, shot number 2. .500 feet per second. And the mag dropped again. We have 895 PSI now. Shot 3. 486 feet per second. That was shot 3. Shot 4. Actually, the mag dropped again. Going for shot 4. 8.4 gram Smasher XL, shot number 4. 876.9 PSI. 470 feet per second. Mag did not drop. I'm just gonna make sure it's in there, but it didn't drop. We got 814 PSI now, so the mag drop should be fine. I think we're on shot 5 or 6. I'm gonna call it shot 5. 450 feet per second. Mag did not drop. We're at 770. 774 PSI. I think just shot 6. 430 feet per second, shot 6. It should be, all right, well, the pressure should be low enough now where I don't need the tape. The mag shouldn't be falling out. All right, so that was a 8.4 gram Smasher XLs. My magazine survived, so that's good. I think that's all we need to know right now for the heated CO2. So at this point, what I'm going to do is just, I'll disconnect this quick connection here so I can spin off. Actually, I'll degas first. How's that? We'll degas what we have left here. And all right, so we degassed the rest of that air. I probably shouldn't have wasted it, but I did. All right, and we'll go ahead and close this back up. We're going to disconnect here. Okay, and then we're going to loosen up the little locking ring here, and we're going to spin off this stock. And we're going to go ahead and spin on a MCS on and off slide check on and off here. So we got that off now, which disconnects all this, so we're not going to be doing the CO2 through the Umarex, however you want to pronounce it. All right, we will go ahead and now I had ordered some new bottles that have this incorporated in, a 7 CI and a 9 CI from AR Tactical that has the this already built in, so it'll be nice. But I've managed to get this thing working now. I had to lubricate the daylights out of it, but it seems to be working good. So I'm going to spin this in. I had drilled out this as well. This ASA that came with the gun when I bought it from Mercury Rise. So I'm just going to spin in this on and off here. Looks good. And I think I'm going to adjust my target trap while I'm at it here. Yeah, those 8.4 gram rounds were hitting that trap really hard. I mean, that thing's like formed down from the impacts. It was hitting pretty stinking hard. All right, so now we're gonna do the 1100 HPA. I didn't fill it up, but I got just under 2,000. Should be enough to do 6 rounds of riot balls. So we got just a little under 2,000 PSI in the tank. So let's go ahead and we'll spin that on. Make sure this is in the off position first, and I do believe it is. Everything looks good. Let's spin this on. It sounds like I heard it. Probably don't want to go too tight with this thing. All right, let's see how this feels. Feels good. All right. We're going to air it up. Now, the other day, even with the 1100 PSI coming through the back here, I did not have any mag drops, not a single one with 9.9 gram. I suspect the reason why I'm getting it up here with the 1030 that we saw, where actually working pressure was 930 or something like that, but we started off at almost 1200 PSI I was developing by preheating. And that was only 2 cycles of preheating these 12 grams. And I had like almost 1200 PSI. So the preheater, it's doing its job. I mean, it's getting that stuff hot, and then once I puncture it, I'm seeing gains of 11 to 1200 PSI easily. However, as soon as I turn it on, I'm still getting a drop of PSI through that 8890 on and off by MCS. So there is some kind of 100 to 200 PSI drop. So, I mean, you guys saw it. You know, once I turned that on, it dropped down to about 930, 936. So, which is probably a good thing, because I don't want to run 1200 PSI to the back of this gun. So maybe I'll keep that in circuit. Again, that hot turbulent air, you know, all that pressure and that hot turbulent air blowing the mags out versus the 1100 of the cooler air coming from HPA not blowing my mags out. I think that's the only difference here, is it's hot air. You know, maybe it's got a bigger kick, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure there's a scientific term for it, but like I said the other day, I think that's what's going on with this. I think the only thing I'm going to be able to do is not so much a fix, but a workaround. Again, drum mag. Maybe a drum mag will be able to hold up to that extra ball bounce, for lack of a better term, you know, bouncy balls from all that hot turbulent air. So let's go ahead and pressure this up, make sure the bolt. All right, that sounds good. This slide on and off's working pretty good now. Bolt's not stuck like it was doing to me the other day. Everything looks good now. I changed the O-rings on it. I'm not going to be able to take a working pressure naturally, because this digital gauge only reads the CO2 system, which is now disconnected. So we're not going to know exactly what's coming out of this, but it was, when I tested it the other day, it was 1100 coming out of this tank. So, all right. Again, I am not concerned with mag drop at this point, given we're running off of HPA and not very hot 930 psi CO2. So we're going to load it up, and we're going to take a couple, put the laser on, we're going to take a couple chrono readings of this mag of 9.9 gram riot balls on HPA. Okay. All right, we are hot over here, so that you know on the other side in the laundry room. All right. Okay. 9.9 gram riot balls on 1100 psi HPA. Shot 1. (410 feet per second). Not too bad. Of course, I was getting a lot better than that. I got 500 on the preheated CO2, but this will be more consistent. Shot 2, 9.9 gram riot ball, 1100 psi HPA, 406 feet per second. Shot number 3, 402 feet per second. Shot number 4, 406 feet per second. Liking that consistency. Shot number 5, 400 feet per second. Again, very consistent. And shot number 6, 398 feet per second. All right. That should have been all of them. The mags survived, obviously. No problems with this. All right, what we got left here? We started at just under 2,000. We got about 1,500 psi left in the tank. So I'd say that's not too bad. Used about 400 psi for one mag of 6 rounds of the heaviest stuff I got, basically 10 gram stuff, 9.9 gram. Some of them closer to 10 grams. So yeah, that's it. So this test was to compare the two different systems. Okay, so we compared preheated 12 gram cartridges, right? 2 in the Umerix cylinder, preheated to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. We tested that, very powerful, but I get mag drops. And now we compared it to 1100 psi HPA, and not, pretty good, more consistent, but not nearly close to the power. We're talking about, out of the gate, 100 feet per second difference. So if I can work through or figure out a fix, not a fix, but a workaround, maybe being a mag drum. I know I keep saying it like a broken record, but the only thing I can think of, if I can figure out a different type of magazine that can handle that bounce of getting in the heavy ammunition. Otherwise, I'll be stuck with just shooting the 7.3 gram alien play. So, but that's the difference between 1100 psi HPA on the back of my X-68 Stormtrooper and running actually 24 grams now, right? I wanted to rule out that handle one, so just 12 grams. All right. So hopefully you found this educational, if not entertaining, and we'll see how it goes here at further testing. And yeah, that's all I got for today. Peace out.